Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's new episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and friends. And listen, we have a bunch of friends here. We have a bunch of topics. We are talking Hellblade. We are going to be asking the big questions. Why is it getting so much hate? Your guess is probably as good as mine. Again, is there an Xbox tax? Yes, there is. And you know what? Because I like evidence-based conversation, I actually have documentation that someone sent me that proves that, yes, people are actually reviewing this game against the company that owns Ninja Theory instead of actually reviewing the game. We do have one entity that actually says it in their review, that originally gave it a 90, the Hellblade 1 a 90, and in their review of a 45 said that I hate doing this on spite, but I have to. I will read it verbatim. It is just ridiculous. Now, obviously, we have some information coming away of Jez Corden where Ninja Theory's other project, which is unknown by anyone, has been greenlit. And of course, we're not talking about Project Mara. We are talking about a new project.
Something special.
So I'm sure it's going to be something special. And it's not a sequel. So it's not Hellblade 3. It is not going to be any of their older IPs. It is going to be something new. At 9:30 p.m. when this show is done, in Japan, Sony is going to be having their Beyond Boundaries business meeting. I'm going to tell you, I have heard some things behind the scenes that, if true, I'm going to tell you this, hold your favorite pony close. And I don't like using the term, but hold your favorite PlayStation gamer close, because there's going to be a whole lot of coping tomorrow if what I have heard comes to fruition. And again, I don't have it on good authority. I don't know the person, but I'm like I said, I'm taking it with a grain of salt. In fact, I'm not even going to tell you what they said, because I don't have it on good authority. We are currently awaiting the arrival of Black Viking. I think he said he's going to try and make it, as well as Kay Asante. But let's get into the introductions, because we do have one other topic. And it is from a YouTuber that not only do I know personally, but someone that I think is tip of the spear when it comes to content creation. He is a Spanish content creator from Spain. You know him as Ecstasies. And he had put out a tweet today where someone had sent, I got like 6 or 7 DMs, and I'm like, yeah, what is happening? What are we talking about here? Well, the rumor, and I mean, please, folks, take this with the ginormous grain of salt you could possibly throw on your back and carry. Supposedly, according to Ecstasies, and again, he doesn't do things for clicks. He legitimately is a fantastic content creator, and he does have connections. I don't know about this one, Hargeet Johnny. Apparently, Microsoft is going to make a bid for Steam and Valve. Again, it sounds too much, to be honest with you. How you feeling, Hargeet?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I've been playing Hellblade. I don't know how far I am. Going by the collectibles, I think I'm like 3/4 of the way through.
Okay.
So we'll see how far I am. But either way, so that's going pretty well. I'm not sure I agree with some of the negatives on the combat being useless. I think it's pretty good. But then again, I don't know. People maybe want something different. But
they wanted God of War, and they didn't get it. So because they didn't get God of War, well,
yeah.
This is why they're punishing the game.
But so far I'm at like 8.5 to 9 in that range. I don't know what it'll end up being once I finish it, but I'm sort of in that 8.5 to 9 range. But so far so good. But yeah, are we gonna get into the Valve thing, or do we want to wait?
We're gonna open up with Valve. Yeah, I just want to wait for Viking. Hopefully he shows up. And Kay said he's going to be here. So as soon as we get 4 people in here, we will get to it. We got already at 315 people watching. Folks, I do have an hour and 10 minutes worth of footage. There isn't any real spoilers here. I tried to put together what I had. But I mean, if I feel there's going to be something spoiled, I'm just going to stop it. I remember what I put in. It's an hour and 10 minutes, but it's like the first 4 chapters, I think, pieced together, and they're not in specific, not in order of how you run into them. But we'll play it by ear. Don't worry, I'm not going to ruin anything for you. Please play this game because, my God. But Sir X-Men, you asked to specifically be here today, and well, here you are. How you feeling, brother? Welcome.
I'm sorry, I'm here to bring the pain today to the people that are crying about this game. I didn't finish the other Hellblade because I got frustrated. But I can't put this one down. So I got to talk about it because I don't get it. The hate for this game. I just don't get it. That's about it. Plus, every other topic that Boom got tonight really interests me. So this is gonna be fun. Let's go.
Yeah, we're gonna have some fun here today. We're definitely gonna have some fun. So let me just get over, make sure that okay. So here we go. Look, I got to give credit where credit is due. I have something in front of me that Brett Bingham had sent me, and this comes the way of Xbox _Series _XS. It's interesting. And I'm going to tell you why it's interesting, gentlemen, because, again, we're talking acquisitions. I don't know if you're bored of it. Maybe some people are. This particular acquisition, if it's possible, I don't even know if it's possible. I feel that it's too big, personally. But
no, it could happen. They're not on the stock market.
They're not on the stock. It's private. So regulatory eyes would look at it for sure,
but they couldn't do nothing about it.
But it's a private sale. So
no, they can definitely look at it. That the private part of it doesn't matter. Right. But go ahead.
They can't stop it though. Sorry.
They can
stop it. They absolutely can't stop it. But it would be, I guess, maybe, I don't know. We'll have to see. But what I want to bring into the conversation is there was this quote unquote Christmas list that came out during the ABK court proceedings, and they had their list of companies that they were looking to potentially add to Xbox through the purchase of obviously acquisition through Microsoft. At the top of the list was Sega Sammy, which was $2 billion. Bandai Namco was at $12 billion. Capcom at $5 billion. I can't believe Capcom is only $5 billion. I don't mean that
Bandai is only 12.
12, according to this. Now this is old. This is during the court
I think Bandai is worth more. Well, it could have fallen down. It could have actually fallen, right? So it's possible.
Konami was $5 billion. Netmarble, I've never heard of them. They're $13 billion. They're a mobile-centric content portfolio. Nexon was $17 billion. Playrix, which I've never heard of, also they're mobile as well, $7 billion. Square Enix was $6 billion. Take-Two Interactive was $15 billion. Ubisoft was $10 billion. And this is where it gets interesting, Hargeet. Valve, $17 billion. Now, again, I'm gonna, let me just look it up because I have the thing from Ecstasies right here. I sent it to myself. Okay, so this was posted this afternoon around 11ish, and I couldn't get. I was going to do a breaking news with Boom. Like when you get stuff like this, you can almost expect that I'm going to do it. And I reached out to a few people, and they're like, "Boom, I'd be real careful with this one." And I'm like, "Yeah, you know what? I even did the thumbnail. Like I literally did the thumbnail. I was like, oh, before I hit the setup button, let me just check." I figured, you know what? I don't have enough. Tom Henderson, Tom Warren, Jez Corden, they're not reporting on it. So I just want to take this as grain of salt. Now, according to Ecstasies, this is what he said in his tweet. A rumor that would change the industry. Microsoft is preparing to offer to acquire Valve Steam for $16 billion. Valve is a private company not listed on the stock exchange. It is more complicated to determine its value. We will analyze this. And he writes, unlikely move today. So I mean, again, it's making the rounds now. Florian Muller actually talked about this, and he said, there's not enough information for him to make a determination, but if that changes, he's going to throw his hat into the ring. So Kareem Jovian is a content creator, rather good one at that. He's been on my show. He actually was on a couple of weeks ago. I like Kareem. Kareem's a good dude. He had put out this massive tweet now on Reset Era. Of course, now this is making the rounds there. Rumor Microsoft is preparing to offer $16 billion for Valve. And he goes on to say that while it's not confirmed, let's speculate. And he goes on to say, I love Xbox, but I don't want to see this happen at all. Microsoft buying Valve would be a move that would hurt Steam. I don't personally think so, but okay.
It won't.
But here's the thing, Hargeet. Jez Corden just tweeted something that's a bit of a head scratcher. Now the Black Viking actually quoted Jez on this. I found where he said it. He did in fact say this. And Jez Corden says 100% Steam is on the next Xbox. 100% Steam is going to be on the next Xbox. Jez Corden, Windows Central. Should we start making the rounds with this one, or is this still? What do you think, man?
So I would still. Sorry, who are you asking? Sorry, me or?
I'm asking Hargeet. Yeah, I'll get you in a second.
So, I would still keep this in the grain of salt mode right now. Almost every time we've heard of rumors of an acquisition, it usually doesn't happen, right? So I want to keep it that. But I will say, the mode they're in right now, right, which was like, hey, we're buying to have content for Game Pass versus now we kind of need you to make money because the kind of game world has changed a little. That's why I think it's going to be one of those companies that just prints money. And that's why I would think a Take-Two, an Epic, or a Valve are very good targets. Now, Gabe in the past has said if I want to sell, I would sell to Microsoft. Why? He's a Microsoft dude. For those who don't know,
they're friends, right? Guy. They are friends, yeah.
Well, it's not even. I mean, he came from Microsoft. He was a Microsoft person. Yeah. He made his millions from Microsoft, and then went and made Valve. So he is a Microsoft dude, right? So at some point, Valve is going to have to change because Gabe will eventually decide to retire. Now, I don't know if he has like a succession plan of who's going to go next, right? But it is a private company. And usually when something is like that, like Bethesda, for instance, was a private company, right? Started by a dude who went ahead and made it what it is. And then, unfortunately, he died as the acquisition was completing. But the point was he was going to sell it off and give that to somebody else and then go retire. Unfortunately, he, passed away. But this is the kind of thing that, we're at with Gabe. He's kind of getting that age, right? And he might just say, well, I don't really want to run this anymore. And maybe the right place to go is, let's give it to, Microsoft, his alma mater, let's just say. Right. And, as far as the potential for it to be blocked by regulators, 100% of the regulators are going to look at it. It's a big deal, right? It's big as in financially large, right? It's beyond the 100 million. It's going to be looked at. The question is what would be the market negative, right? So if Steam were the only store, that would be a problem. Right. Steam is not. However, the size of the store, it's 50% of the Windows market. But realistically, you can't really say that's a big deal because they would never restrict it. That just doesn't make any sense. It would be financially disastrous to do that, right? Second, their current store that they have is open to everybody as well. Third, the other stores that are there are open to everybody as well. So there's no like restriction there. So it's an interesting one. I don't know that it would really be a big issue, but somebody could make an issue of it. But I'm not sure who would. Epic would probably be the first one to maybe say, I call shenanigans. But Epic and Microsoft are kind of really good friends. I don't know
really
that this would be a
close.
problem. So,
Yeah.
They use their
because
engine in most of the games. That's why.
well,
No, they
exactly,
have
and
yeah. I mean, there's that, but
taking that to the, but taking that to the next level, right? One of the things that's been of of I guess of a push that Epic has been trying to make was like, hey, we can be better to the publisher by giving them a better deal. And it hasn't really resonated. And this is something that Microsoft maybe could work with them on to say, well, cool, we'll still be competing with you, but we will compete with you in case of that. We'll cooperate with you as well, right? Co-opetition instead of competition, because that's just what they do, right? So if there's a way to plug in easily and say, if we have a game here, we can easily give it to you there, that kind of thing, they could probably work through that and make it easier for them. But put that aside, I don't know that Epic would actually, make a big stink out of it. Because they've been in partnership forever. I don't know that like Epic wants to really cause headaches with Microsoft. So I'm not sure
they were the first one to come to their aid during the court case against Apple.
Exactly. Because they're helping them, right? Especially in the mobile arena. So yeah, I don't know that regulatory issues would really be a thing. Lena's going to be going away in a few months if this thing really gets into that
October, yes, he's gone in October,
right?
yeah.
So then you say, okay, is that really going to be a problem? Maybe not, right? From the US side, again, on the other side, the rest of the world, it's going to be is it a consumer hit? And I mean, they're already paying for Windows. What's the consumer hit here, right? Oh, they have the store, they have their own store, right? Their store has better rates. So this could just mean maybe they could even give better rates on Steam. I don't know where the negative is, right? It's just a store to access Windows. You don't even have to use any of the stores. You can just put your app on Windows for whatever way you want. Microsoft does not restrict you in any way. So you're welcome to do whatever you like. You're welcome to go use GOG. You're welcome to use Epic, Amazon, whoever you like. They don't care, right? Windows is wide open. Anybody can put whatever they want on, right? So I just don't see, and it would financially, it would be a disaster to not allow everybody on there. Because that's the whole point of Steam. It has literally everything, right? So they would definitely want to keep that because that's the whole point of having Steam is it has everything. So I don't know that there's a negative here. Would there be like a, hey, you might be able to integrate it with Xbox? Well, duh, it's Windows. I mean, yes, they can. They were going to do it anyway. What about like Nintendo or PlayStation? I think they'd be happy to do that. You want to do it? No problem. Go ahead. The problem, though, is our platform's all Windows, so it's easy. Your platform's not Windows, so the game would have to emulate. If you're willing to go do that, have fun. It won't run native performance, but hey, you can try it if you want. Make that happen. Have fun, right? So I think Microsoft would be happy to do that, right? So I don't know that there's an issue regulatory, as far as the regulators are concerned. We'll see. They might make a stink of it, but if they do it, this is a financial cash cow, and that's the thing they're looking for, right? Is they want financial cash cows, right? Because there's just all these games are being bought on their store, right? On top of them having CS:GO, I think they have Dota as well, right?
Yeah,
and they have a whole bunch of.
They got League of Legends too over there.
It's League of Legends, them?
Yeah,
that's Riot. Riot.
I thought that was Riot. Yeah,
Riot
but they still run through Steam, though.
Everything runs through Steam. That's the thing, right? Because the majority of games on PC, they run through Steam because that's where everybody wants to be, right? Mm-hmm. So, like all of Xbox's games are on Steam, right? The beauty for us, though, is that Steam would suddenly become Game Pass.
Yeah, that'd be ridiculous. Sin is asking in the chat, Boom, can you ask Hargeet if Valve being a private entity makes any difference?
Yeah, it just means that the process is a little streamlined, right? Because as far as a market position, you have to entice the shareholders, and usually that's the board would do that on behalf of them, but they would then go to the shareholders to have a vote, and the vote could be no, right? For the ABK, for instance, it came back, was it 98% yes? Yeah. But that is always a potential, right? The shareholders could say no. In this case, the decider is, I'm pretty sure it's Gabe, who has the majority of the private stock. Mm-hmm. So he's just I say yes, and that's it, right? So that's all it takes there from a company perspective. From a regulatory perspective, it's still, because it's like 16, 18, whatever billion, it is definitely going to go to all the regulators in the world. They're going to say, do we want to look at it or not? Just like we did with ABK, right? Is this something we care about or not, right? If there's a potential for market harm, they will take a look, right? They'll go through a phase 1 or phase 2, whatever, right? So the part of it being private is that they could do this without anybody knowing. Like Bethesda, for instance, nobody knew about that, right? They just said, okay, we've acquired them, right? Then it started the process. Whereas with the ABK thing, they had to announce it, and then the announcement had to go through all the fiduciary problems of process with the shareholders and the board and all that junk, right? So we got to see all that part of it, and then it went to the regulators to say, do you care or not, right? So that part is a little different. So you could, for instance, in the June showcase, you could just see a, hey, announcement, Xbox Plus, right? That could actually happen, right? And because it doesn't have to be a public disclosure. When you're buying something public, you have to make a public disclosure, right? And then lock the stocks and all that stuff, right? And whatever. So all that fun stuff happens.
Yeah.
Whereas here, it's all private.
Again, it's grain of salt time, folks. And the reason why we're talking about it, because it is a hot topic. It has taken over social media. Listen, they're going to buy something else. I don't know what it is. I don't know if this
I keep getting pushback on that, Boom. Is like, oh, they should not buy anything else. They should just...
Why not?
I'm like, are you kidding me?
Why shouldn't they? That's the most ridiculous thing.
But that's what I keep getting, right? It's like, they're
but
not able to put out games. I'm like, but they've put out games. I don't understand.
You know what's interesting? The again, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole about putting out games. Sony has put out one first-party game in over a year. One, Spider-Man. That's it. And the only other one, and I'm talking about platform exclusives. They have put out another game. It's called MLB The Show, and that does better on Xbox. Go figure. Just saying. First of all, Kay Asante, good evening, kind sir. And apologies. I thought I sent everyone the link, and of course, I have an old man brain. I didn't send yours. Holy matrimony! What's going on, brother? How you feeling?
I'm good, man. I'm good. No, I'm happy to be here. I see the chat is already lively. I'm chatting with a few people. Oh, before we even get started, I see Flood sent a super chat directly, specifically asking me a question.
Yes, he says at Asante, what happens to Proton and gaming on Linux in general if this happens? Valve puts tons of work into Proton. It's their baby.
So I guess that'll lead me right into the question you asked, if that's okay, Boom.
Yeah. So yeah.
I honestly, while I'll caveat this by saying, I don't think this is happening anytime soon. Not happening anytime soon.
Okay,
I don't think it's happening anytime soon. Why? Because the ridiculous dust. FUD dust, if you will, must settle before they crack open the wallet and break out more billions, right? They could break out billions anytime they want, but the FUD dust must settle. But when the dust settles, oh, hell yeah, 100%, right? Can it pass regulatory muster? Of course it can. Now, I'll ask a question and put a pin in that for a moment. Does Sweeney become the lion crying lion? We don't know. For now, it doesn't look that way, but it's one. The reason why I asked that is not necessarily because they don't have a good relationship, but he tends to be a what do they call them? He's an ideologue when it comes to stuff like he believes in open borders and he believes in with the gaming and all of that. It's not necessarily about the dollars and cents for him. He uses his dollars and cents to fight the man, if you will, even though technically he's one of the man.
Yeah, and I think Phil would go talk to him ahead of time anyway and say, "Hey, what is it you want? Right? Let's just put that together."
That's exactly the key right there, Huggy. What we have noticed, and this is not my pushback necessarily, but what I think could potentially be a concern is what we have seen is that when we've seen recently that when either Phil is not the only arbitrator there, or when Phil is not there, that power can be wielded for ill. And I have a feeling that Todd would do something. Maybe we get one of those rumored notch deals where, hey, you can have it, but this, and this are the requirements for you to be able to have it, a la Minecraft, right? Meaning you can have it, but you can't do all Microsofty with it, aka it has to stay open, it has to be available to all forever. In writing or something like that.
They'd lose way too much money by closing any border.
But see, that's the thing, right? That is the logistics on the ground today, right? But we've come to realize that against all great marketing, when they feel the need to, they can pull that card because they have the right to do so. They own it, right? So there may be some devil in those details there. But to answer Flood's question directly, I actually think they would be good stewards of Proton. Why? Because then they don't have to roll Linux by themselves. They can co-opt it for their own purposes. Now all of a sudden you see Game Pass on Steam. Like it works. And I mean, Proton, let's be clear, Proton does not belong to them, but they've added a lot to it. It's an open source framework that they've added a lot to. So Valve has. So I expect Microsoft to continue rolling with it. Like, this is not the Microsoft of old where they'll just kill everything else in favor of their platform. They'd be like, well, a lot of people are there. Let's go there. Now, what would worry me personally, selfishly, is what happens to their VR dreams? What happens to the handheld maybe? Because, now they're heading into handheld. But VR, there's a graveyard of developers who used to make VR games until they were owned by Microsoft. So that might kill that dream, which most of the people in the chat will go, yay! They don't give a crap. I will care. I think that's unfortunate because it seems like Valve is the only one moving the ball forward.
I just don't think they would touch it. I think they would leave it alone, except for things like, how do we get Game Pass hooked up or something like that. It just doesn't make sense to muck with it.
But even the VR thing, the reason why I think that would die is because VR is literally Valve's Gabe's brainchild. Like, it is his brainchild. He's doing VR and then doing computer brain interfaces. That's him. And when you own the company and it's yours, you can crack open your wallet and do whatever the hell you want, right? The minute he leaves, who's going to be that brainchild? It may just kind of
I mean, if you're talking about future things, then maybe you're right. But I'm thinking like Steam VR. I think it's just going to keep going. I don't think they're going to.
Hey, Asante, I got a question.
This is not anytime today, tomorrow. Yeah, what's going on, Mr. X-Man? Yeah.
Would if Microsoft does go through with this, would they own the Steam Deck?
Yes.
Yeah. Of course.
That would be.
They would own the Steam Deck. Yes.
Yeah, they absolutely would.
That would be.
And now the cool, interesting thing in that was, imagine they own the Steam Deck in the short term, whenever this hypothetical never happening world happens, and then they can kind of incorporate that into their own efforts. And before long, chances are that fabled Xbox handheld 2.0 or 3.0 gets even better because of all the learnings that Valve already had. You know what I mean?
Correct.
If you haven't, folks who haven't been paying attention, Valve is unlike any other company. Like, there are no leaders in that team, in that organization, except for Gabe himself. They spend years and years building whole games and then go, we don't like it, and then table it, right? Because they have the money. You keep buying from Steam, they keep doing whatever they want. They are beholden to no one. So it would be a very interesting day if they were to actually incorporate it into Microsoft. I honestly don't think you see it in the next 4 or 5 years. I don't think that. I hope
as
I'm
far
wrong,
as the acquisition,
but I don't think so.
Or you
as
think
far as the acquisition?
Okay, I think they could pull it. I think they could
because
I think they're ready to do it, and I think they need to go with the money thing.
They're always ready. They're always ready to do it. The money's there, baby. But the problem is, like, as you guys have already made great arguments as to why they can do it. Those great arguments were there when they wanted to buy COD, but how much blood did they have to squeeze from the stone to get?
Well, there's one little problem with COD is that they had to get rid of the head of that whole thing, Bobby Kotick, right?
Yes,
that is a difference here. Now you could say the same here. Maybe like Gabe's like, "Yo, I'm selling this to just get out." Okay, that's cool. And I don't know how much.
That's the only time that would work. Right, that would be the only way it would work. Gabe would be like, "Look, I'm done, and I'm giving it to him."
Yeah, but Gabe could come on for like 2 years, right? And say, I'll keep the ship running.
I doubt he would do that.
And move on, right? It's possible. I don't know, right? But that's the thing. Like, if they went with one of these other big ones, right? If you get like Epic, for instance, you're gonna take what's there and just leave it alone. You don't have to change it. Right. If you get Take-Two, same thing. You don't need to change it, right? Zelnick's there, you just let him run it because it's working. It doesn't matter. In the case of ABK, they inherited something that they had to fix, right? There were a lot of problems.
No, I guess I'm just talking about more. I don't foresee, like, if this thing is real, I don't foresee it being a problem for Gabe. I don't foresee it being a problem. I have money, you have item, I want to sell it, you want to buy it thing. I don't think that's a problem at all. What I do think is all the regulatory bodies around the world that just got finished rubbing their butt because they got bruised about this whole ABK thing. And now you start this fight. If it's anytime soon, oh boy, that's where I'm anytime soon where this whole, he had to, you get a deal thing is still fresh in the mind. You know what I'm saying? That might be a bit of a hurdle for them to make. But
I mean, look,
Gabe is ready to get out. because a few years ago he had to split a lot of his money
Oh
over
yeah, no, I
with
know
his
that.
divorce.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that took a lot out of him. And Phil and him
I will hedge the bet
for the past 5 years. So I think
I'll hedge the bet and say this: as long as there is no flying lion, crying individual, that might
they
say
have
that
nothing to
that
do.
means
Sony has nothing to do with
no,
this.
that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not, this
No,
time
it
it's
would be
Sony,
Epic, right? It would be Epic, or it
as
would
long
be
as there is
PUBG,
not a
right?
single
Which is
like
who's
person,
that?
because that's what
CD
they'll
Projekt
do,
Red,
right?
right?
Tim Sweeney. As long as it's not, there's no single individual with a mouthpiece where regulators can go to them and go, "What do you think?" And they go, "I don't know about that." As long as none of them come out the woodwork, it might work, right?
I mean, look, it's not like it's not like Steam is a massive store on any other OS. It's on Windows.
It's the
right?
largest.
Which, it's
sure,
it
but
is what
unfortunately,
it is. It's Microsoft's OS.
It's on Windows, but it's also the largest store for gaming in the world.
But they own the
period.
platform. But they own the
True.
platform, right? So it's not like it doesn't feel like it's a big issue because like they're not going to lock down other games from coming to the platform. There's no world in which Microsoft's like, no, you can't put games on my platform. Are you kidding me?
But again, remember, they started their ball rolling in the ABK thing, going, look, it's not in our best interest to keep it exclusive, right? We want money, and still people were like, but they could eventually foreclose, but dumb arguments happen every day.
Down to just cloud, right? Ultimately, it just came down to cloud.
Tech guys, I want to tell y'all something. Over the course of the few years with Xbox and Steam, both of them have helped each other with technologies to improve their systems. Microsoft has helped Steam, and Steam has helped Xbox with the return policies and the integration to help Xbox run better with their Game Pass storefront, and Microsoft has done the same thing in succession with Steam and Valve over there. So they've been working together forever. Without Windows, Steam wouldn't be what it is. Without Xbox integration, them helping them innovate their storefronts and helping them out, Xbox wouldn't be where it would be today. Both of them have a great.
Let me be clear though. I'm saying if and when this thing is ready, in other words, when Gabe is like, look, brain interfaces are good, I'm ready to move on, 100%, there is no other suitor. I agree with that. Even Valve has said it themselves. Gabe himself has come out and said it a time or two. So it's gonna happen. My question is, right where they're still integrating ABK and they're still in like the next 6 months, the next year, the next 2 years, the next 3 years, I don't foresee that happening.
Well, look, and that's
fair assessment.
Maybe, but then they had that with Bethesda and they still went with ABK.
Well, but Bethesda was a small fry in comparison to both ABK and Valve.
Valve is about the same as far as studios, right? But look, I don't think that's a necessary thing, right? Because if they had to come in and fix things, sure, there's a little bit of a headache there, but you don't stop. You just don't. In business, especially if you're like that, if you stop, others will pick up. You need to keep going. I just don't see that would be a limitation.
Hey, man, I'd be happy to be wrong. Next month, next year, we come here and I'm like, Hargeet, you were right.
Again, it would still take
amazing.
Time. Right, this is probably still a year process, right? If it goes, it's going to be a year process. So they still have that year to get whatever they need to do with ABK done, right? But as far as like getting that fully integrated, that's going to be like 6 years before you actually start getting the fruits of that, right?
Right,
so
they're not
going to stop for that.
These arguments here. Here we go again with the battle of an American company trying to help another American company. And that still bothers me to this day. You know what I'm saying? Both of these are American. I know in your opinion, but from my opinion, American companies helping other American companies to keep thriving is always
it's not an opinion-based situation. I am saying I agree with you, but that did not stop ABK.
It's longer term.
Right. It's just it didn't stop them from making dumb, negative, baseless arguments to keep this process train rolling.
I think Steam is a good thing.
Oh yeah, no. I'm not saying it's not. I am just saying the same dumb arguments that slowed ABK to a crawl to a point where people were like, "It's over." those same dumb arguments will come out of the woodwork, and it will be given the light of day, and they'll treat it with respect
Fine.
as if somebody has some knowledge, even when they don't.
Yeah, but
Anything
they have to go
Xbox
through it.
does is gonna get hit, though. You already know.
Exactly. This is the point.
So you might as well just go through it. You know what I mean?
Get it
From my
over with
perspective,
and out of the
we
way.
just do it.
Well, listen. What I want to do is I want to get X-Men's finite points about it, and we're going to move on to the Hellblade conversation because there's a lot to have here. But again, just for context, we do have Jez Corden, and thanks to the Black Viking who put this out as a tweet. Jez Corden is been recorded or has been quoted, I should say, in saying
I have that digital receipt, by the way.
100% Steam is going to be on the next Xbox. Now, is that in cooperation with this particular rumor, with grain of salt rumor? I don't know. But we did hear a couple of weeks ago that Steam and Epic Game Store were going to be available on the next Xbox. It is an exciting time, but let's get your final takes, your final thoughts on the potential of this deal happening.
You're muted.
Uh-oh.
So, I hope Xbox get them so I can get Half-Life 3. All right, that's all. But other than that, man, I mean, this is a good thing for Xbox. It's a good thing for gaming, and I'm not trying to let them be a juggernaut, but it is what it's gonna be. It's good for us. It's good
no matter what.
It's good for PC.
They're gonna keep buying.
Yeah,
because they're just gonna keep buying.
It's on Windows, and Microsoft said Xbox is PC and PC is Xbox. What a perfect match to have Steam included in the Xbox ecosystem and vice versa.
Yeah, strong point.
It's gonna be awesome.
You can't lose. You can't lose for winning on this subject. You'll get the Steam players. You'll get a better ecosystem over there. Some Steam players might add an Xbox if Steam is over there. You know what I'm saying? They can play WoW on the Xbox through the Steam store. They can play all that. So it's a big thing. I might be able to play some games that I love on Steam that I've been wanting to come to console. I would love that. I don't need the achievements. Just let me play them on my console so I can stream them easier. I mean, these are things that I look to, the future after the acquisition. And I think this is a big one. To me, I'm sorry, this is bigger than ABK.
I mean, it would definitely be a big deal. Again, take it with a grain of salt, folks. We talked about it only because it is starting to make the rounds. Obviously, Jez Corden out there, and now he doesn't think it's going to happen. He believes that the UK regulators would definitely shut this down. He actually said that in a tweet. But he also did say that Steam is going to be 100%. He's saying 100% going to be on the next Xbox.
How many people, Boom, said that ABK wasn't going to go through?
Phil and the head of them have been rumoring that for over 5 years. 5 years before this, they've been talking.
They were a part of the Christmas list that we have the court documents where that was one of the ones that they were eyeing for acquisition. But look.
I don't see the negative as far as the consumer. That's the thing.
There is that one.
No.
No consumer negative by doing this
across the board. It's a W.
Exactly.
And speaking of wins, let me catch up on these super chats because according and listen, folks, how much I love Greg Miller. I'm a big Greg Miller fan. I'm a kind of funny supporter. I have been for years. I have to publicly recognize Snowbike Mike for towing the line and putting it down the way he did during, it's no longer the XCast, it's the whatever, the games cast, which I think was a terrible idea. Anyone listening from Kind of Funny, go back to your old way, give your shows individualisms. Let's get PS I Love You back, XOXO, XCast. I think it was a mistake doing this broad stroke, everything is everyone. I don't like it. I like the other format personally. But Greg Miller, and you know what? Let me just catch those 3 super chats I want to get into, and then I want to kind of really drive the point home of Hellblade. I don't understand the unnecessary hate. I think that this game is being punished for being an Xbox exclusive. I think it's being punished because studios were closed a couple of weeks ago. I think it's being punished because Starfield did so well. I think it's being punished because of ABK. I do not think that people are being honest with their opinions. I think there's a lot of disingenuous takes on this particular game, and I'm going to go over it verbatim. And one entity which gave it a 45 said so. A 45. I'm going to get into that in a hot second. We have Son of Skyrim 75, who's been a channel member for a very long 9 months. Brother, thank you so much for the generosity. He goes on to say, how would that work with the Steam Deck? Would it become a portable Xbox? Indeed, it would. They would own the Steam Deck, and it would probably be a portable Xbox. That would be kind of dope, or at least be folded into it for some, because there is going to be a portable. Supposedly they're working on one. Maybe we'll even see one this June. Cage Fielder says this after dropping a very generous $2 super chat. Take-Two equals GTA and Red Dead Redemption. Epic equals a built-in store plus UE5. I don't think they get either of those, personally.
And Epic does also include one of the biggest games ever, Fortnite. Just saying, you might want to put that little footnote in there.
I mean,
that's why it's not going to happen.
And then they'd own the engine, which they also run most of their games on. But
yeah. So Epic has a lot of upsides. I mean, the idea that it's not going to happen, don't think that things can't happen. In a world where games are going everywhere, then that becomes less of a problem.
Yes,
now you have
I agree. I absolutely agree there.
So if we'll see what happens tonight.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. Glacier Don drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, I can't agree with you, Kay Asante. I see another spending spree for Microsoft in the near future. I mean, they're going to spend. What are they going to buy?
I don't disagree on that, right? I don't disagree on that. But maybe you buy smaller here and there that doesn't raise to that level of, oh boy, let's circle the wagons again. Because that's the problem. I'm not talking about the purchase itself. I'm just talking about the size and scope and what it means for the gaming world.
Well, it's not going to be
also just
circumstance. $70 billion deal. So, I mean, it's actually
maybe
small
20
if you think about the
25, something like that.
I mean, it's no different than Paramount paying. I mean, Sony paying $26 billion that they don't have, and they have to.
No, this would be
that's going to wind up.
Okay, so this would just be at that. It would be 16 to 18 outright. So that would be the deal. But
isn't it like double plus a little extra, right? Like, and we're using old numbers.
It's not. So in case of a public, you have to say a 40%, usually 40% on the share, right? In this case, it's a private deal, so it's really whatever they.
Whatever they decide on, that's true.
Yeah, so you're not
and their value is hard to discern, because it's private.
No, you can. It's usually how much profit you generate based on that profit, right? They can determine this is what your actual value is. So you have revenue.
No. What I'm saying is we have a hard time making those determinations because Valve doesn't share that, and it's a private company.
So in 2022, it was worth about $7.5 billion.
$7.5 billion. That was the last
time they
left in the records.
Black Rider is saying that nobody is saying anything about if just Microsoft buys Gabe's 25% and invests in Steam rather than buying Steam. They buy Gabe's 25%.
It's always possible. It's always possible that that's all they're doing. Yeah. They could even just take a stake, right? They could say, "I'll take half of your shares, Gabe," or something like that. Any potential there, they usually don't though.
Yeah,
Microsoft usually just goes all in, right?
Yeah, and as they should. They want the whole kit and caboodle.
They don't want anybody telling them what to do.
Well, then if they buy Gabe's 25%, then the other stockholders at the top with the other percentage could say, "All right, we're all in. Give us more money."
I mean, again, this is all speculation town, so we're gonna, we'll take it with a grain of salt.
That's why we're talking about it, Boom.
Right? Yes. This is still speculation, rumor.
Yeah, we're gonna get into it, but listen,
I saw fun speculation in there. We can borrow the name for a little bit. Why not?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, he's co-mayors with me. Him and Pong So.
Hey, look at the speculation when they said games coming to PlayStation. That was speculation, and then it happened. So.
Well, listen, we'll get into the. I want to move to the next topic, gentlemen, because This was sent to me yesterday, and this is a very interesting conundrum that we are dealing with. Now, on the left-hand side, and you know something? It's going to be, you know what? I'm not going to do a screen share. It's just too small. Okay, so on the left-hand side of the document that was sent to me, it says Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice. And Worth Playing, which is a website, gave it a 90. The same website gave, I mean, and you know what? Before I actually read the scores, I just want to throw this out there. I think it's safe to say, with no argument, with no fanboyism, with no botness, if you will, that Hellblade, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 is leaps and bounds better than the original in every aspect. Sound, the gameplay, the fighting, the graphics,
The puzzles.
everything is better in the second one. With that said, let's go over these scores. This is how you know that there is, in fact, a absolute tax or bias against Xbox. And, you know, again, however we got here and what got us here, I don't know. But I will say that if you're going to say that the game isn't for you, I'm not going to fight you on it. The game isn't for you. But you cannot give a game like this, which is industry changing, a 45 and be like, yeah, no, that's just the way it is. It's wrong. And I think that it's BS. But
So
let me
Boom,
just read. Yes, sir.
real quick, I have been able to, I'm going to share my screen. I've been able to blow it up a little bit. So if
Okay.
you choose to, you can take a look at it.
Yeah, here it is.
I think the visual aid is really worth looking at.
I saw that earlier, dude. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you know what? That's actually really good. So chat, thanks to Asante, you can in fact see what we're talking about. So Worth Playing is a website. They gave the original Hellblade a 90. They gave Hellblade 2 a 70. Hobby Consoles or Consolas, which is of course a Spanish website. I don't know whether or not they're in Spain. I'm not sure, but they gave the original one a 91 and a 70 for the new one. Now, Game Critics, well, you see, that's the one, Asante, that I got to talk about because I have their quote here. Let me find this shenanigans. I'm going to read it verbatim. They gave the original Hellblade 1 from 2017, which of course was a PlayStation 4 timed exclusive, a 95. In 2024, they give Hellblade 2 a 45. And here's what they had to say. Until now, I've liked each new Ninja Theory game more than the last. And I can never deny the craft on display. Given that this is their first release since the Microsoft acquisition, I credit Hellblade 2 for not feeling compromised by corporate interests, but that only makes it more baffling that it lacks any real vision that I'm able to discern. It's not an offensively bad experience, and yet I can only offer the most damning criticism imaginable. I have no idea why this was made. Are we talking about the game? Because I'm about to beat it a second time. I don't understand, but you know what? Keeping the shenanigans up to date. I don't even know how to pronounce this. Mistronation, I think it is, gave it a 90, and then they gave it a 75. Now, 75 isn't a bad score, but you gave the original a 90. If the original was walk to the edge of the water at the end, drop the head in, the game's over, and now we're talking the second one, it's leaps and bounds better. So the Washington Post gave the original one an 80. I think 80 is a good score. They gave this one a 63. And what's the one underneath that? Or is that it? Okay, yeah, Worth Playing, 90 of the original, 70 is in the new one. Look, I'm going to go to you first on this because you were able to bring this to the conversation. I understand. You know what? The one thing I'll say, Kay, that I'm honestly sick of hearing, and it's an excuse by many people, not shouting at anybody in particular. The game was polarizing. So polarizing that I had to give it a bad review. The person from GameSpot who gave it a 60, who was gushing about the first one, literally said that they were crying at the end of the game. This is what they said. And they've listed all of these horrendous points of view. I'm sorry to say, I know there's gonna be people in the chat like, oh, look at that Boom. He's capping for Xbox. I mean, how don't you feel a type of way that a game comes along that's this bombastic and it does so many amazing things, and all we're seeing is people say that this game is polarizing as the excuse to why it's not for them? I don't get it. Kay, can you make sense of this?
So, okay, I will say I tend to be the cooler heads kind of guy. I tend to be the guy that goes, look, there has to be a logical explanation. I also was the guy that agreed with Hargeet on the initial blush on this, saying this is not a quote unquote 4-quadrant game. You know what I mean? It's not there to appease the masses, right? I would tell you, Timmy's mom should not buy this for their kids because they're going to have some nightmares. You know what I'm saying? 43-year-old Kay Asante is having some nightmares playing this sometimes because it's intense. It's some scary stuff that goes on in this and the bodies and all of this, right? So the initial blush, I was convinced that this would not hit the high heights, at least in the critical reception, and it wouldn't be everywhere because it's not for everyone. It's not everyone's bag, right? But it definitely deserves to exist because if you ever want gaming to move forward and grow, right, it must be the medium that it is. Meaning, you can get your Peppa Pig game as well as something like this, right? All manner of games must be allowed to exist if this is a true art form and it's not a video game like we think about it in the 90s and in the 80s, right? This is a truly mature medium that offers mature substance for different swaths of the population, right? So while I didn't think this was going to be like God of War levels of great to the masses, right? I did think this was going to be an experience, and it is. It's amazing. Copious screenshots you see from me and all of that, right? What I can't get my brain around is exactly this, the list that we just went over. Because, some people, there's always a logical explanation for a lot of these things. Maybe this person didn't like it. Maybe the person who reviewed it before is not the same person that reviewed it now. It just shows the title of the outlet. It doesn't show that it was the exact same person that reviewed it both times. Who knows, right? But consistently over and over and over, how many of them are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 of them consistently in a row, where the first one was just the bee's knees, as they say, and the second one is trash, basically. It's a little too much to be like, well, it might have just been a coincidence. I wonder if somebody will be courageous enough to put this list in front of one of these people and have them answer the question live on air somewhere. Because I would really love to hear what the reason is. I would really love to hear what the reason is, because it is very sus. I mean, sus eyes is out. Like, this is just because, look, Xbox tax and implicit bias, we've been talking about it for a long time, right? You were talking about Greg Miller and when will they ever get a W? Even though this amazing display of art, this amazing display of art is on your screen. Now, you may like it, you may not. You may call it a glorified walking simulator, but at the end of the day, you have never seen graphics quite like this. You've never been through an experience quite like this. So it's subjectively may not be your game, but it's objectively a next step in the evolution of gaming. It is. It just is. There's no denying it. It may be for you, it may not be for you, but if you are any type of game critic, any type of game lover, any type of a person who has spent any time associating yourself, even in a professional sense, with gaming, you cannot say this is an L. And if you do, then I gotta wonder who's paying your pocket. Like where your money coming from? Something's up with you. Like it's a little bit suspect. So that's where I fall on it. Unfortunately, this is all part of the business these days when it comes to Xbox, right?
Yes.
It's all part of the business, I try to look on the bright side, like much like my brother Paris Lily. I try to err on the side of, hey man, just play your games. Don't even. But this stuff just gets so damn egregious. It's just so blatant and naked on its face that you just go, come on, guys, try to hide it a little bit. Make it easy for us to give you a good reason,
Listen, Kay, you're making too much sense. How dare you come onto this show and make sense? My God, I'm throwing you off. You're out. That's it. You make too much sense. Hargeet, I want to go to you, and I'm gonna throw a bunch of stuff at you here. Okay. Xboxer Mike, who's consistently in the chat. So Xboxer Mike, welcome as always. He says, "Hey, Double Barrel Gaming, the lady or the person that reviewed Hellblade 2 for GameSpot was exposed for making bad Xbox tweets just a few days ago. So this is not surprising, right? Again, here we go, exposure. It's your boys, right? But so the person who reviewed Hellblade 1, this is what they said. I just finished Hellblade. I cannot stress enough how important and well done this game is. 8/9/2017. That is when it was a PlayStation 4 exclusive. This is what the review said for Hellblade 2. The bad, shallow, muddled storytelling falls short of offering a unique or introspective experience. I don't understand what she's playing, but okay. Extremely minimal gameplay with simple puzzles and flat combat. Okay, I guess. Set pieces, encounters, story beats, and gameplay quickly grow repetitive. You know what? Like I got nothing.
I gotta laugh, dude. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. We'll get your hot take on it because obviously you're gonna have the full gambit to run with it. But Hargeet, these bad scores come on the heels of Greg Miller. Now I'm a fan. I've been a supporter of since they left IGN. I supported both Greg and Colin, and when they split, I supported both of them. Colin, no more. And obviously, they got my Amazon money coming in each and every month because I gave them my sub. And I've been doing it ever since. And I would never take it back because I actually really do like Kind of Funny. But these bad scores that we just talked about, on top of Greg Miller live on the air saying that where is the W for Xbox? How is this on your screen not a freaking W? I don't understand that particular comment. And again, I'm not attacking Greg Miller. I'm just saying that to me does not make any damn sense because he was one of the people that praised Hellblade 1. I think it's fair to say without any Xbox isms that this is leaps and bounds better than the original. How is this not a W?
Well, this is just the way it is, right? Like no matter what they do, there is just a pervasiveness of like an Xbox tax. It just like what else can you realistically say, right? I'll introduce the nice little. Let's see if it'll actually take. Here you go. And you can see.
Xbox tax is real. Yeah, indeed it is.
Like no matter what they do, they're always going to keep getting this crap. And like, it was really cool to have like Mike sit there and at the same table and say, well, why isn't this a W? Like it's exactly what Ninja Theory wants to make. They didn't interfere and tell them to make something different. This is it is a perception issue no matter what you do, right? That somehow everything has to be a PlayStation game, but Nintendo somehow gets away with it. Nintendo does not have the same problem. Like Zelda does not look like a freaking PlayStation game, but it gets the 90s, right? Mario doesn't either, and it gets 90s, right? So I don't know what it is, but like there's just this perception of anti-Xbox, whatever, everything they do. Like I've put together all the charts, everything, like the games, same number of games. Actually, now Xbox has more games out this generation than PlayStation. But the perception is that Xbox has no games. And it's like, well, wait a minute, but they keep putting out games, but their studios don't put out games. But they do, though. The games are there. You just don't like them because they're not Sad Dad walking simulators. And that's your problem, right? And like, so this is not supposed to be like a game that's gonna like, be at the level of Horizon Forbidden West. It's not that, right? This is not going to be God of War Ragnarok. It's not Spider-Man. It's intended to be a smaller game. But like, is that a bad thing? What they've done, they've definitely punched above their weight. And like, what how much do you expect out of this? And for some reason, you're expecting somebody who has mental health issues to be a shinobi or a ninja or a freaking samurai. Like, why? What are you expecting for combat? There's just this need for gamification. The whole point of this was to tell you how it feels to have mental disease, right? That's the point of this. That's going to be struggle. You're going to not win.
Yeah.
That's the point. Okay? You're going to get beat up, but you keep trying to get back up. And then you keep fighting the best you can. That's the point of this, right? But look, people want it to be something else all the time. It's always something else. And, I let the game tell me what it's going to be, right? Which is why, by the way, I enjoy more games than most people because I'm not anticipating what the game is supposed to be. I just let the game tell me what it is, right? Okay, I'll take your storyline, your game mechanics, your whatever it is, and let you tell me what you want, right? Instead of me presupposing, well, this game was made by this studio, therefore it must do these 10 things. No, I don't care. If you want to totally change, Playground Games gives me Forza Horizon games, but they're going to make Fable. Am I going to say, oh, wait, where's my car in Fable? No, I don't care. Just let the game come to me the way it is. Whatever they want to present, I'll take it for what it is, right? But that game is going to get the same bullshit. Why didn't it do these things? Why didn't it do that thing? Why isn't it like this? Who cares? Is it a fun game? Can you just enjoy it? No. It has to be compared. And then it has to be all about how Xbox didn't do something. First off, it's Playground Games. It's Ninja Theory. It's Obsidian. It's whichever studio. It's that studio making the game. Jim Ryan doesn't make games. PlayStation's studios make games, and they have some stellar studios. Those studios give you the game they want. Some of their studios didn't make stellar games. They're dead. So let's not forget that too. But that's what they do, right? And when other companies do that, it's okay. But PlayStation, so anything that Xbox does, however, it has to be scrutinized to the nth degree. Look, I've been saying this forever. The tax is real, no matter what happens. Why was I able to predict where it was going to land on Meta? Because I know this is what they're going to do. I know it's what they're going to do, right? You can base it on what they had with the previous game. You can say, hey, this game is going to amp it up. This deserves to be high 80s, right? But it's not going to get it. It's not going to get it because this is what you get. It's always going to happen, right? You look at Starfield and tell me that game is a 7? Really? It's a 7. This is an 8, but Starfield is a 7. Okay. Really?
Yeah.
Fine. But this is what you get. It's always like this, right? And I will keep expecting this until it gets to the point where they're like, you're hurting our money supply by doing this, by constantly hitting Xbox where it's not deserved, right? At some point, that's going to be the problem. And when that happens, we'll see. If they own Steam, are they going to do the same thing? The next game that Steam puts out, right, or Valve puts out, because those are usually highly rated games, right? Are you going to start saying, nope, those games are 4 now? Is the next COD going to be a 5? Because the last one was, a 4? Right? Isn't that what they did? 3, 4, whatever the heck it is?
Yep.
So is the next COD going to be a 4 or 5? Like, at what point does this just get called out? Like, it's constant now. It's just constant. You can't tell me a game that still millions of people are playing that COD is a 3. Really? It's a 3. Why did 25 million people buy that then? Right? If it's really a 3, why are there millions of people still playing it? Like, this just needs to be like, something they recognize themselves. I don't know what the heck else you can really do. We can keep calling it out. They ignore it, right? I think money is the only thing that's going to matter. When the marketing dollar goes away, we'll see what happens, right? If they keep, and this is why I don't want them to stop. I want them to own so much that they just can't. They can't
And you know what?
Keep
We're gonna
doing
get into it because again, that's the last story of the evening. We're gonna get into it, but we got to,
Yeah. Imagine, Boom, if they did buy Take-Two and they own GTA 6. You think they're going to give that a 4?
They
Do you
will
think they're
not.
really going to go give GTA 6 a 4?
No.
Good luck.
They may give it
Good
an
luck.
8, but because they couldn't give it anything less. But they would be very reluctant to give it a poor score. We'll see what happens with the new Call of Duty that's coming out into Game Pass. Let's see if it suffers there. That's going to be a very fun scenario. I'm sure we're going to start to see it. And again, we're going to get into the story that broke yesterday that I think really does echo a big problem, not just for Xbox, but I think it echoes a big problem for games media. They're already shit. Let's call a spade, but we're going to get into that. Sir X-Men, I have a scenario for you. I saved this particular rant of mine for you. And I said this to Kay Asante earlier today. It seems that when it comes, and chat, please push back on me if you don't believe this is actually happening. It seems that each new release for Xbox that is an exclusive, each one of their games comes the way of an asterisk being next to it. So let me break down this scenario for you. Hi-Fi Rush comes out, and ultimately it is shadow dropped. It is one of the most perfect released games I've ever played with 0 bugs. It is a surprise. And the asterisk near this game is it should have been on PlayStation. It feels more like a PlayStation game than it does an Xbox game. Asterisk, right? Shadow dropped. Asterisk. Forza Motorsport comes out. And was it perfect? No. Was it a 9? 100%. Did it need more tracks? 1,000%. But because it's missing some things, other games like, I don't know, Gran Turismo that came out that was egregious, a buggy mess, cars flipping across the finish line and winning the race. That's okay, but Motorsport gets the asterisk. Okay. Obviously, Starfield comes out, and the asterisk is, well, it's not like No Man's Sky. It's too much like a Bethesda game. Asterisk. And now here's Hellblade. Hellblade 2 comes out. It's the first big game of the year, the first big exclusive, and there's an asterisk next to it. Another asterisk. Why? Well, it's like the first one. It's not like God of War. It's not like Horizon. I want to ride dinosaurs. I want to fly around on jetpacks. I don't get it, but there's your asterisk. I said this to Kay, and in my heart of hearts, I do honestly believe that this is going to be the scenario moving forward. I know people are like, oh, wait a second, Boom, Indiana Jones, there's going to be an asterisk. It's going to play too much like Riddick or something, because a lot of the people from Starbreeze are on that team. Or it's you're going to get the exclusive asterisk. Should be on PlayStation, asterisk. Avowed is going to get one. Well, it's not like Skyrim, asterisk. I really think that there is no scenario in my mind that you're going to see a game come out, no matter how it looks, no matter how it plays, no matter how bombastic it is, how industry changing it is, right in front of you, without there going to be an asterisk. What are your takes on this, man? You're on mute, brother.
Oh, I was. Thank you. I don't know why I keep, because I'm not trying to interrupt people. That's my problem.
That's fine. It's fine. So you're all right.
All right. For one, Microsoft needs a big tax refund because of all this Xbox tax coming. They need to get with somebody, and for the past 7 years, get a big giant refund to them for all this stuff.
That'd be very
they
big
lost.
refund,
They lost a lot of money because of all this Xbox tax from everyone. Number 2 is the reason Hellblade 2 is on the Xbox is because when Sony players had it on the PlayStation, all of them crying about it, they did not buy the game. So they put Ninja Theory in a financial strife. Microsoft came and said, look, we will help you out. They even let them make a game that wasn't that fanfared over here, that shooter that people kept playing and stuff like that. They gave them a chance with that game. But now that because of you guys didn't buy Hellblade and support it, and now you're crying about a game that was praised on the PlayStation 4, now you want to cry about it because it's not on your console, because even if it did come to your console, you wouldn't have bought it. So I don't understand the cry from people that never played the game. And that's my biggest problem. This game is stupendous and is far beyond the previous Hellblade. But because of your bias, your hatred for everything Xbox, which is making moves in the right direction, they have some fumbles along the way. But what game company doesn't have fumbles along the way? They all make mistakes. But Microsoft is trying to improve on that. They gave Ninja Theory a new studio. They gave them all the new technology to help them progress with the second version of Hellblade. And now you're seeing the ingenuity of that team. But you hate it because you didn't represent the first game. And my last thing on that is, and this is a big one, you're hating this because you don't have no games coming out. And Microsoft has games coming out. That's why you're going to hate everything we have, because you have nothing. You have nothing to compete with. You have nothing to compare. And the original Hellblade was not that long a game either. It was about the same amount of time. It didn't have God of War fighting mechanics. You walked around a lot. You figured out puzzles. This new one is the same pretty much mechanics as the first one, but improved. So how are you going to complain about a game that keeps it the same, but improves upon it? Like Uncharted 1 wasn't the greatest game. Uncharted 2 was the improvement to Uncharted 1.
Absolutely.
So why
Great point.
are you complaining about a game that's an improvement on the original game? And there's no excuse for that. There's bias in the industry. It's been there for a while, ever since 2013, and it's still going to go. So while you're sleeping on that and keep living that, Microsoft is making innovations. Microsoft is looking for the future. Hellblade is the start. And if you say, I've been saying this, people think I'm funny for saying this, but if you're looking at Unreal Engine 5 engine right now, what do you think Gears of War 6 is going to look like with them working on this engine like that?
Yeah, you know what? The caveat for Gears of War 6 is going to be it's too much chainsaws. That's what it's going to be.
So, but people still love
There's going to be something, Boom. There's going to be something.
It's innovation in game. Microsoft uses Unreal Engine 5 more than Sony does. They use Unreal Engine more than Sony does. They have been for years.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
now they're taking advantage of Unreal Engine 5. And that's going to be in a lot of their games coming up. What you going to do? What you going to say? Even your developer over there that made Spider-Man said, we need to make our games look like this.
Yeah,
So
they're using this as a
that,
benchmark for themselves.
So if they're saying that's a benchmark, then how are you going to complain and say bad things about a game that has hit the benchmark? Even though it's at 30, it hit the benchmark for what you were looking for Unreal Engine. It may be slower, methodical. Developers are still learning Unreal Engine 5. But this is a great start for the future. And
And,
you gonna
real
cry
quick,
about it?
Sir X-Men, real quick, a quick caveat about what you were saying. I see a world where you get a 40 VRR mode for Xbox. I see a world.
You're the
playing
man.
it,
Thank you.
I'm
It's
telling you,
possible.
I see that world.
But look, one other thing to think about is that look, if you look at the other side, and I hate to do whataboutisms, but
Do it. Do
Place-
it. I love it.
PlayStation has put out sequels all this gen, right? As far as first party, and so you have God of War Ragnarok, which got what, like a 93, I want to think, something like that meta.
Correct.
But a lot of people played it and said the beginning of it is kind of slow and kind of boring, and then a lot of people just stopped playing, right? Some people stuck through it, said it was great. It gets way better. Cool. Horizon's Forbidden West. 88, I want to say, 89, something like that meta. Yet, I hear from a lot of players that it's
But
boring.
it came out with problems.
Yeah,
Boom will tell you that.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and look, I haven't played either one of those, so I don't have a judgment yet. I bought Horizon Forbidden West on PC. I'm gonna play it. I will get Ragnarok when it comes out.
In Forbidden West at this point.
You're a bad
Who was that?
mofo, Asante. You're a
I
bad
have like
mofo.
400 hours between PC and PS5 or PS4. 5.
Yep.
I have about 400 hours in that game at this point.
Right, and then the other big one, like they had Gran Turismo, but they had Spider-Man too, and there were issues with that, right?
Yeah.
So, like, but that still garnered a 92, 3, 91, something like that. 91, I think it was 91. Okay, why? Weren't those same issues, inherent in those games? Weren't there the same mechanics in God of War Ragnarok? Did they massively change the fighting? Maybe they did. I don't know.
No, it was
did
the
they?
DLC. It was DLC. We talked about that last night.
So where was the big hubbub about that? Why didn't it evolve? Why it's a whole $70 game, right? Why didn't it evolve? Why isn't it? Where were the complaints? Right, Spider-Man 2 literally
there's two different
assets are the
scaling
same.
systems. That's the problem, Hargy. There are literally two different scaling systems, and
Right?
it goes back to as simple as Xbox bad, PlayStation good.
So why are those wins? Why are those wins? That's the thing. So in other words, I just keep seeing this tax because there's a perception problem. No matter what Xbox does, right?
Gentlemen, I have a question.
Well, one thing, PlayStation wants what Xbox has, right? Because Xbox has live games that keep generating revenue. That's the thing that they're looking for. They're terrified of what COD's going to do because now Xbox owns it, right? That was their cash cow. They want what Xbox has. Why does the industry want the opposite? It's very odd. I don't know what the issue is, but that's what happens.
What happens to this game at the Keeleys? The most cinematic of cinematic games ever. What happens to this game at the Keeleys?
Paris pointed out that if she isn't, if she isn't winning, at least bloody nominated for actor or performance in a game, right? That it's got to be rigged.
I have to say something, and you guys got to hear.
How do you
know?
Two
best looking games that I have seen on Xbox, and nobody talks about the other one, was Helldivers from Gears of War 5. Those are the two best looking games I have seen.
Hivebusters,
right? Hivebusters.
Yeah.
Two best looking games I have seen on Xbox to this date. They are working on Unreal Engine 5 over there on Microsoft and those teams. So this is just the next level to that. And if they keep working it, man, there's some studios that are in trouble. That's all I gotta say, man.
But look, like the next one's gonna be Avowed. Do we know that one's not gonna have the same problem? Because I can guarantee you it will.
Oh, that's gonna get hit. Everything we put out is gonna get hit, dude.
Right?
It doesn't matter.
Suddenly, Obsidian,
even
which is
if
awesome
it's Barbie's
studio,
Playhouse on Xbox, is gonna get hit. I'm being real.
The truth of the matter is that we don't know what's going to happen. I know someone had sent me an article here. Let me see where it is. It was hold on a second. Let me see if I could find it. Bloody H. It was I think it was Screen Rant. They did an article.
Will it be on PS5?
Yes. Yeah. again, the game sucks so bad that everybody wants it on their console. Did
that start already?
Yeah, it
Oh,
did.
yeah.
It started.
Oh, it did. Which is why I said go ahead and just release it day and date. At least you'll get the 90.
Yeah, well, you'll get the 90 on PlayStation. You'll get the 70 on Xbox. And
I don't
say,
care.
Don't-
You'll get the
don't
90.
give 'em nothing.
Then you can just
Don't-
shut up, ponies,
don't
because you'll get
give
the
'em
90.
nothing. Don't give them nothing. Because the more you complain about something that you say is crap, don't give it to them.
Well,
Don't give it to them. I'm going hardcore on that part.
No,
Don't
it's
give 'em
fine.
nothing.
It's fine.
No,
it's fine,
I
it's
hear
fine.
you. I hear you.
I want to move on to the next topic, gentlemen. Before we get there, I do got to catch up on super chat. It's been quite a few of them. Jordy drops a very generous £5 super chat. And Jordy, welcome, brother. We got to get you back on the show. Hopefully, you're doing well. He says the visuals on Hellblade are equally as stunning as the first time we clapped eyes on Red Dead Redemption 2. It is the first big leap for this generation. Indeed, it is. It is literally the benchmark of what people need to meet. Fantas Archer drops a very generous $5 super chat, and he says, that's a problem in my opinion. Xbox needing a win meant that the Hellblade 2 game was to be weaponized instead of appreciated for the production itself. Yeah, see, that's exactly what Snowbike Mike was saying, because when he was going after Greg and blessing on it, when Greg Miller was like, "Yeah, where's the W?" He's like, "Well, how do we always go back to this, that we're worried about the stock of Microsoft instead of celebrating the game?" And that he's 100% right for saying so. You should definitely watch it. I watched it. It's about an hour and change. You're gonna get a little frustrated. I got a little frustrated with Blessing. I got a little frustrated with Greg. I understand.
To be fair, Blessing did say, "I agree, Mike. I understand both sides."
Yeah, no, he did.
Of this.
He did. No, but I like Blessing. That kid is great. I love Blessing as a creator. I love that he has exploded on the scene. Again, some of his criticisms I don't agree with. I don't think he's a monster. He's have your opinion, but he did in fact back up Mike, so I'm happy about that. But again, this is wait till you hear what's happening with the games media. You're gonna be a little concerned. William Lewis. William, welcome to the program, brother. He drops a very generous $5 super chat, and William says, Greg of Kinda Funny Games has a show. P.S. I love you, and XOXO. Enough said. I mean, he's a PlayStation dude. I mean, he's in Insomniac Spider-Man 2 for crying out loud. So yeah, I mean,
he's been both 1 and 2.
1 and 2. Well, there you go.
Yes,
There's
he's
and he's not hiding it. I mean, he's always been the PlayStation dude, right?
Yeah,
So
of course,
the fact that he's being even a little fair to Xbox is actually an evolution for Greg, right? But Greg's awesome. He's
I like Greg a lot. I really do.
But he does not make any qualms about being a very PlayStation dude.
No, he does not. One Punch Jedi drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "You can say Microsoft Xbox didn't win, but this is a W for developers. The bar has been set. Appreciate this media. Yeah, I mean, it has been set, dude. 100%. I mean, you heard Insomniac Games in the leak say that they want to use Hellblade 2 as their own personal benchmark for their own games moving forward. That is a massive statement. And we heard it, and well, now we know why they said it.
More money for Epic.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Cage Fielder drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "Pony's mad. Senua is a realistic girl instead of SB."
Stellar Blade.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you want.
Like, again, to be fair, that is after an actual, actress, whatever you want to call her, or a model. And so it is modeled exactly after a human being, a real human being.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Let's see. Chief Master drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Hellblade 2 is brilliant. I would just ignore the reviews." I mean, yeah, that's ultimately what you have to do. Welcome, Chief. Thanks so much for the generosity. LeBurn98 drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "The Games Critic reviewer was the same person both games. He gave Hellblade 1 a 95 and Hellblade 2 a 45. There is no way this game is a full 50 points less," and it absolutely is. It's just
50 points less. That's ridiculous.
50 points, which is just it's just Makes no sense.
Oh, you should have seen what Dreamcast guy did. Oh,
Yeah, well, Dreamcast guy's a POS, so don't worry about that guy. Put him on the pay no mind list. DeAndre Banks drops not one but $2 super chat. He goes on to say Xbox bad, PlayStation good, ridiculous. Second one says Sea of Thieves, Xbox bad, PlayStation top seller. You're not wrong there, sir. So Kay Asante, I'm going to go to you first on this. We were having a conversation. And IGN is a very large conglomerate. They definitely are, I would say, tip of the spear, not for their reporting and not for their opinions, that I will say, but when it comes to conglomerate size, they're one of the biggest publications. Well, they're getting bigger, folks, because they announced yesterday, and there's no attached dollar. It's an unannounced amount. According to, let's see, where is this? GameIndustry.biz. I'm reading the article verbatim. IGN
that they now own.
Yeah, which they now own. Yes. IGN Entertainment has acquired Gamer Network family of digital brands for an undisclosed sum. As a result of the acquisition, some redundancies have been made across the UK-based organizations. And the acquisitions go as follows. They have acquired GameIndustry.biz, Eurogamer, including 6 local language editions, Rock Paper Shotgun, VG247, and Dicebreaker. In that sum of publications that they now own, the business also holds shares in Outside Xbox, Digital Foundry, and Hookshot, which operates Nintendo Life, Push Square, Pure Xbox, and Time Extension. IGN Entertainment is a division of Ziff Davis that includes IGN, Map Genie, How Long to Beat, the Humble Bundle, and it also acquired the websites from PAX and New York Comic Con organizer Reed Pop, which initially bought the Gamer Network business in 2018. This, I feel, Kay Asante, is going to be an ultimate problem. I don't necessarily say that this is only going to be an Xbox problem, but this is, I'm trying to equate for the audience, which, by the way, we have nearly 1,350 live viewers. Now, where is that coming from? 714 people on Twitter and 630 people on YouTube. That's just bananas. So thank you so much for checking out the show. But let me try and put this in a way that it makes sense. What they acquired yesterday, what they announced they acquired yesterday, is if someone comes in and buys channel 2, 4, 5, and 7, which is ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox. And these websites are pretty big. Digital Foundry is massive. GI.biz is massive. Of VG247, that's a pretty big one. Rock Paper Shotgun, that's another big one. What I am concerned about, not so much from an Xbot point of view, I think that they are going to be able to control the industry in a way that makes it could be very disingenuous for consumers, in my opinion. What are your hot takes on this, Kay?
I mean, those who were upset potentially about Microsoft buying ABK because that was a concerning, because consolidation is bad. This is consolidation writ large.
Yes.
Right? You want competition in opinion. You want competition in this space, just so that you keep things above board. We've heard that some companies, and I mean, let me be absolutely clear here before I even go forward. Do what you can. Do what you do. These are money-making entities. They're not altruistic. They're there for your dollary dues, as they say. And that's why if you rage, they will make sure you click so you can rage click, right? It's about getting you to click. So I'm not saying this is not me raising a finger and saying, oh, how dare you. I'm just saying, as consumers who like that diversity in opinion, That is what's concerning me here, right? Because we've heard that various entities, some of them have a big marketing arm, for example, that's run by that's paid for by one platform versus another, right? And because of that, that may lead, even if it's not the case, it may lead some to suggest that, hey, man, that's the reason why you never get criticism on that side, because look at their budget. That if you look at the marketing budget, it's 40% name your publisher, whether it be PlayStation or whoever, right? They have outsized interest in keeping certain entities happy. When this conglomerate owns a lot more of them, when the most popular ones are owned by this one entity, that means a lot more of that will happen. Doesn't matter which one you choose, right? Because they'll all kind of go to the source, which is IGN at this point, right? I honestly think that this does present a very cool opportunity. Believe it or not, I do think this presents a cool opportunity, because now, because these things are happening and you are seeing it right in front of your eyes, right? As you rattled off, they own this company, they own that company, they own all these companies, right? And they also own Humble Bundle, right? So they own the criticism side of the house, and they own the publishing side of the house. They own a lot of stuff. What does this do? When consolidation was coming up in Xbox land and people were poo-pooing it, what did I say then? I kept the same energy then. I will keep the same energy now. When they consolidate, it gives room for others to breathe. When they consolidate and they leave room in the market, that would then give, an example I remember giving was give Devolver more of a room to shine. In this case, I'd say it gives, I don't know, Seasoned Gaming more room to shine. LordsofGaming.net more room to shine, right? It gives Xbox Era more room to shine. But that's all up to us. I speak only from a consumer standpoint. I will not, because look, man, but for the will of God, you could be a business owner that gets bought and you got a nice paycheck and now people are hating on you. No, do you, man? That's what you choose to do. But if you're a person like me, a consumer who cares about your criticism being earnest and passionate and free of corporate manipulation, now's time. Just like I equate it to the radio hits and Spotify. Now it's time to go start digging into the crates for your favorite songs. If you listen to the radio hits, you're gonna get skewed, as it were, right? But it opens the room and gives more opportunity for some of the greats that I have mentioned, Seasoned Gaming, for them to shine. Which now means, instead of every once in a while I'll check them out, bookmark them instead of IGN, right? Instead of bookmarking, instead of having them be the first place you read, go read the ones that you know definitely. Iron Lords, LordsofGaming.net, they're out there doing big work, doing it all the time, doing it gratis by and large, right? Now's the time to go put them to the forefront, because they're no corporate thumb is on that scale, right? So is it concerning? Yes, it is. Right? Because a lot of general people, there's a reason why IGN is as big as they are. They have all the eyeballs, right? And that also means Metacritic is going to get real funny these days, because IGN specifically has a outsized influence on the meta scores. So imagine they now own all these other big entities. How does that look like when they're doling out the Xbox bad scores? Who knows? But we shouldn't care about that. We should go to some of our favorite independent guys, give them the views, give them the follows, and vote with our eyeballs in that way. That's my thoughts on it.
It's great thoughts. And again, everyone you mentioned there, all personal friends of ours, all people that we're probably going to be hanging out with in June. Specifically John from Xbox Era, obviously.
Yeah.
He's going to be there. He's coming in from the UK, which is pretty
Ains.
awesome.
Ains is going to be there from Season
Ains.
Gaming.
And I already promised Ains a drink.
And of course, Cog and King are going to be there from
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's going to be
LordsofGaming.net. So
it's going to be, again, support your local podcasters, of course, when they are also doing things on the side like websites.
Now there's really indie. Now there's indie in gaming criticism, right? Go to your indies. Support the indies.
Support your support your content creator indie.
That's right.
Hargeet, I want to bring you in on the conversation because we understand consolidation happens. We understand it's a part of business. But IGN, again, specifically, some of their higher ups, which we don't have to name names here, were publicly against the Microsoft acquisition of Bethesda. They were against the acquisition of ABK. They were publicly out there, rebel rousing, if you will, about consolidation being bad for the industry. And well, here we are, and they're gobbling up everybody. And I ultimately think it's going to be a problem because I think they're going to have a stranglehold on games media, and they're going to be able to turn the head of media how they see fit. And if you don't play, with games with them properly, you're going to suffer. Now, Microsoft already has this tax that nobody thinks is real. We've already talked about that for 40 minutes. The tax is real. What do you think that this is going to do for games media and the industry?
Well, I mean, it's I think the thing that most interestingly, Case Santia pointed out, is that Meta is heavily weighted for certain media outlets, and they own a couple of them now, right? So they're going to have some level of I guess just how do you put this, like a lot of gravitas towards whatever the scores are going to be, right? So that's kind of disappointing. Consolidation happens all the time. Some of these are going to get shut down. That's probably going to happen too. There's going to be layoffs. You just have to expect that, right? So in business, this kind of thing happens. Things are all down everywhere, right? So I'm not surprised that something like this is happening. As far as the media itself, I think Kiyosaki, you said it right. Go support the other ones. Like the point of open markets is if you don't like what you're seeing, go somewhere else, right? Go spend your dollar somewhere else. In this case, give your attention somewhere else. And that's what will change things. If like the current media landscape, the official media landscape just is kind of crappy, well, then, there's a way around that. Just don't go there. Don't give them attention, and that's going to kill them. Right. So, they need to kind of respond to that and be better. But the other ones have to pick up first. That is the answer to this. But, it is what it is. Now, when it was all doom and gloom, when Xbox was doing everything and then others were doing it, were they doing the same thing? Did you see articles about why is PlayStation buying Bungie? I don't understand. Why Ninja Theory? But why Bungie? Why did they buy Bungie? Were there articles about that? I don't remember seeing them.
There were not.
But
as a matter
maybe
of fact,
they
most
did.
People said it was a great acquisition.
Yeah, but I don't understand. Why did they get another Sad Dad walking simulator studio? That just makes no. This is the kind of crap that there is out there, right? And this is why I'm going to freaking put together the video, right? Because I'm just sick of it. There is absolutely no critical thinking about what's happening at PlayStation, yet they're the ones in trouble. And there's always critical thinking about
they have games.
Everything Xbox does. Did you see that Phil Spencer sneezed? Can you believe that Phil Spencer sneezed? Sneezing is so bad. Do you understand how bad it is for sneeze? This is what they do. It's just so ridiculous. Every little thing they do is scrutinized to no end. And now you're just going to have even more of it consolidated. And whatever. It is what it is. Like this can be solved by just going elsewhere, right? I don't know what else to really say about this because this kind of thing is going to keep happening. You can just expect that from industry to industry, right? Consolidation happens to try to keep things alive. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But, this is kind of the way it is. So you're going to see this. It sucks. I don't think they're going to write any articles because I don't think they can, that they'll be allowed to write any articles about this. Would other competing venues write articles about, well, we're kind of saddened that our competition is being consolidated? I don't know that they're going to do that either. So we'll see, right? The majority of the look at this will come from outside the gaming industry. It'll come from Wall Street, who's going to say, is this good for the, gaming media industry? I don't know that it is. I don't know that it isn't, right? But consolidation happens. So we'll see what happens. Like as far as this specific company, Ziff Davis, I think is the one. Will this work out for them? We don't know, right? Maybe it will, maybe it won't. There's obviously issues. That's why they were acquired. So what will they do to fix that up? We'll see, right? Are they going to kind of cookie cutter things and say, hey, what these guys do that are more profitable, you guys need to do the same thing? Maybe that's what happens. Maybe that isn't what happens. We'll see. I'm interested more in what happens to Digital Foundry. they're partially owned, but not fully
Yeah.
owned.
They own
So-
shares. That's about it. Just
Yeah,
a
They own
so-
shares. Yes. Yeah.
I assume that means nothing changes, right? It stays kind of the way it is.
they don't have
Um,
controlling shares. So
Yeah, which is good, right? So, like, because that's like it or not, it's become kind of a useful function as far as what is the game capable of, right? If you take it as it's good here and bad here, that's a different way. But you can also just say, hey, this game was able to do this, right? Which is kind of cool, right? It's good to know the tech is evolving and this is what's happening, and they generally tell you that kind of thing as well, right? So, I kind of like it for that. But yeah, the comparison thing is kind of, but outside of that, just knowing, hey, like we're pushing engines to do this, we're pushing hardware to do that, right? These things are kind of cool that they actually give you. But I wouldn't want that to go away, right? So, so that's the only thing I'm worried about with consolidation is like an entity like that could very easily say, well, you're not profitable, so let's just shut you down. So
Why?
like,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that I agree. I think that I don't always agree with Digital Foundry for a lot of things, to be honest with you, but I do think that they are a necessary tool, if you will.
Yeah.
Real quick, Justy Spud says IGN 3 out of 10, not enough sneezing for Phil Spencer. I love that's good stuff. Sir X, let's bring you in on the conversation. What are your thoughts on the consolidation of these other publications? Do you think it's going to ultimately be a problem?
Yeah, it's going to be a problem. On the day that Eurogamer gave Hellblade 2 100 out of 100.
Yeah, 5 out of 5. Yep.
You announce that you've bought them and all their conglomerates. And then why wasn't this talked about in media and in Wall Street, posters, things like that this was happening? Why all of a sudden this just drops? No scrutiny. No one talked about it. Is the deal confirmed? We haven't even got confirmation that the deal was confirmed. And if it was, why was this such a secret?
Well, I don't think it was a secret. I mean, GI Biz did an article where they did confirm that it's a done deal, from what I understand.
Yeah, but when was it announced that this deal was confirmed? Why was there no scrutiny about it? During the course of the acquisition.
It says
why?
Undisclosed amount is what it says. This was again May 21st, 2024. It was published by GameIndustry.biz and written by Christopher Dring.
All right, so to be fair, why can't Microsoft? I'm not trying to wrap back around the full circle, but why can't Microsoft buy Steam for an unclosed amount and not tell nobody and have it just happen? Because this is a big acquisition.
Yeah, it seems a big difference. I see.
They don't have to. To your point, they don't have to. They don't have to tell anybody. They will have to tell the governments.
Yes.
Right, to actually do it, and then the regulatory bodies will make a determination. But they don't have to disclose how much they paid for it. Right, so that is true. It's a private party deal. We may never know how much they paid for it.
Right. Yep. So the same scrutiny should be for this situation. You're turning yourself now into a multimedia conglomerate that affects everything in gaming. Everything in gaming. To me, I'm sorry, that's like a world monopoly. It just feels like that. And I feel that the bias of the mainstay company, IGN, is eventually going to fall in, put the hammer down, and start saying bad things about not just Xbox, anything they do not like.
You're right. Again, they can turn the head of the industry any way that they want, and if you don't play ball with them, you're going to be on the outs. There's no doubt about it. They can do that.
That's like them buying Twitter. Look what's happening to Twitter. The same thing could happen with these magazines and these stories and Eurogamers and others alike. In those categories, it could happen. And if no one sees that, because remember, technically, these people don't care about gaming out there. The people that in Congress and all that stuff, so they don't care about a media group buying it. but we care. And we see what's going to happen. But they don't. All they see is somebody's pocketing money. You know that there's always payoffs in these things. And I see this becoming a bad world order for gaming as far as media. I don't see the fairness. Plus, they run some of the Xbox ones that to talk about Xbox, I can see that flipping around. I can see them closing down those studios. I can see that happening.
Well, I mean, they said there's going to be redundancies. Redundancies means
Correct.
layoffs. So we don't know what those redundancies are, how many are going to be effective, but we'll see if IGN writes their own article to criticize themselves for laying people
They're
off.
not going to do that. But
we'll
like I said, I see things far ahead. That's my biggest problem when I put out my, my thoughts.
Yeah.
And
I'll
a
say
lot
that
of
there's a
them
potential
has
for some
come
things
true.
to be
A lot of
better
them
as
come
well.
true.
Right? Because
Yeah,
you could say that, let's say Xbox wants to do some mass advertising and they, choose Ziff Davis to do that. Right. And no, I doubt that they wouldn't take money. I highly doubt any company is going to say no to money. So if they want to do that, now they would cover Eurogamer as well. Right. So now there might be a little bit more reluctance to keep having, Eurogamer come after Xbox. Right. Though the last game, they just gave it 100, right? A 10 out of 10.
Right.
Yeah.
They gave it a 10 out of 10.
They sure did. Yeah.
And maybe that has something to do with it. Just think about that. That may be something to do with it. You never know. Right.
Maybe that was their way of rebelling because they knew what was happening on the inside. And they did that to give it 100. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't necessarily think it was that.
The opposite.
I think that's a coincidence. But listen, look. Here's the thing. It's a 10 out of 10 because the game is that freaking good.
I know
it's pretty good.
But they knew on the inside that this was happening from IGN. And don't think they don't know about the bias.
Oh no, they know about it. They know about it. But like,
so they might have said
the dollar amounts are bigger now. Right? I just think that the dollar amounts are bigger now, so maybe it will start to dissuade them from doing the constant like Xbox tax.
I don't know, dude. If they stay the course like they've been staying over there, man.
Yeah,
I don't know. I honestly don't know. But
right?
I would rather be wrong than be right in this situation. You know what I'm saying? So if you start seeing the bias amongst all those other publishers that they have, then we know we had a problem. I'm just saying, beware of what you wish.
Well, I mean, listen, no, it's a great point. I don't know where this is going to go. It was an interesting topic to close out the show. Let me just catch up on Super Chats, and we will get everyone out of here on time. We have your baby's Farva. What's going on, brother? He drops a very generous $10 Super Chat and says, I waited for you guys. I waited for guys like Destin Ryan and other IGN reporters who were concerned with consolidation and monopolies to even acknowledge the layoffs caused by their bosses. No, not a peep. Yeah, of course.
I think they're going to be blocked from doing it, dude. I don't think
it's going to go through either.
No,
it may go through, but I think
where your bread is buttered right there. That's
any company that goes through any of these things, you are not allowed to talk about it.
But you know what they should do? You know what they should do, guys? They need to, if they come in and they get scrutinized, they need to come in and separate some of these companies so there's a fairness in this acquisition. That's what they need to do. They did stuff like that to Xbox. They can do it there too. They did stuff like that to a lot of companies.
I just don't think that's that big, and I don't think that no one actually cares, to be honest with you, dude. But again, we're gonna have to watch and see what happens. It's gonna be very interesting. Cage Fielder drops an additional $2 super chat and says, "Panel and chat sites without the Xbox tax FIGN." I mean, I there's not a lot of them.
Lordsofgaming.net.
Lords of Gaming. Yeah,
definitely go to ILP.
Yeah,
they got your back
there. They actually really have a bunch of really good writers over there. Ames, Seasoned Gaming is another
gaming.
fantastic website to go to and support.
Pure,
I would even
was
say
happy with
Xbox
Pure
era.
Xbox.
Yeah, they
Pure-
definitely
yeah,
don't have
Xbox
an
Era
People
was
Xbox.
clown
But
it.
if they
Pure
have an Xbox tax,
gave
it's in
it a
reverse.
7, dude. Pure Xbox gave Hellblade a 7. I was shocked
Xbox
when I
era did
saw
not
that.
though.
they gave
Xbox
it a
era
10
did
out of
not.
10, as I did.
10 out
I
of
gave it a
10.
10 out of 10. Yes,
Yeah.
my review was 10 out of 10.
Now,
And well worth it.
People hate Xbox era. They say Xbox era does not report straight sometimes. They're giving you the straight dope, even if it's bad news. You know what I'm saying? And so
Yeah.
I actually stand behind them. I think they do good work.
I as well stand with
Now,
Xbox
what would you
era.
guys do if that was the first one they put on the cutting block?
Who?
What would you say if they cut
Pure
Xbox era? Yeah, Pure
No,
They
Xbox.
don't,
they don't
own
own
Xbox
Pure-
era.
Yeah,
No,
pure
Xbox
Xbox
era
they could do that.
is Special Nick and John.
Yeah,
those guys.
they don't own
Yeah.
Xbox era,
Mhm.
so it wouldn't even
Yeah.
matter. But yeah, they're gonna eventually make it big. I love those guys over there. But listen, let's get everyone out of here. Kay Asante, please. You've already started tweeting, and obviously this Saturday is going to be a big show with you, and of course the slanderous one known as Everborn Saga. I don't know how many guests you're going to have on, but your last show was phenomenal. A lot of big
Appreciate it.
opinions. Please, by all
Appreciate
means,
it.
sell the brand of the Gaming Circle podcast Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and where they can follow you on social media.
Well, I always appreciate. First off, I appreciate being here. Great panel, great guests, great chat, having great conversations. You know, kept it civil, but by and large, Sir X-Men, I appreciate every time I get a chance to talk with you because
It's
that
rare,
means
but it does happen sometimes.
right. We round out the gray beards. You know what I'm saying? We just round it out. It's a beautiful thing. We appreciate.
Right.
You know what I mean? So thank you for being here. You catch me, K Asante, TKO Asante on the Xbox and PlayStation, all the places we communicate, including on the thing called Twitter. The mama called him Twitter. I'm gonna call him Twitter. It's fine. Screw that X stuff. Sounds like a porn site when you call it X. Whatever. You can find me there. This Saturday we will be talking about Hellblade. More of us will have played it. I would have finished it by then because work has been killing me. I haven't finished the game yet. We'll talk more Hellblade, and of course, if we're talking Hellblade, we have to bring on the Viking. Dutch will be in the spot. I'm asking Wandering Dutch to join us. And of course, the man who drinks deep of all this great, interesting information, One Bad Mother, will also be on the show.
That's
so
nice.
it's myself,
Boy.
Mr. Everborn Saga, OBM, and Dutch. We're gonna have fun, and that is on Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, of course, I would be remiss without mentioning that I also host a show with my man, Mr. John Wolf, on Monday nights. We talk more PC stuff. They're doing a lot of interesting stuff in the PC world these days, you know, with ARM chips and all of this crazy AI madness. Join us on Monday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we'll talk a bit about that as well. Thank you all so much, as usual. Always a great show. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Hargeet Chani, by all means, help sell your book, sir. Obviously, yes. How many authors do you know? Well, I know one right here. He wrote a book. I bought it. You
I'm about
should buy it.
halfway through that book, by the way. I read it at night before bed. Halfway
Nice.
through.
How do you like it?
I'll let you know when I'm done. No, I'm not going to give you any opinions until I'm
No
done.
spoilers. No spoilers.
No spoilers. Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Well,
But I'm
listen,
reading it every night.
Sell your brand. Let everyone know.
Yeah.
where they
So
can buy your
if
book,
you want to
man.
buy if you want to buy the book, I wrote a book. It's a sci-fi novel called Emergence. You can go to the URL right up there, shop.china.us. And then if you want, you can also just subscribe to my channel. I'll be dropping more videos. I might drop something in between, but one of my videos is definitely going to be about how PlayStation's in trouble and the industry just doesn't care. So I guess they don't seem to want to put any articles out there about how PlayStation might be in trouble. So I'm going to put that together. So look forward to that. But that'll probably be sometime in the next few weeks because it'll take a
I'll
little bit of
join you
work.
for that. Let me know. I'll join you for that one because I'll hit it.
Yeah, nice. Good stuff. Good stuff.
So-
Looking forward to it. Like the videos that you're doing on the channel, brother. And I really
Yep.
am going to be interested to hear your thoughts and theories about how obviously PlayStation, they're not dying, right? They're the market leader, but you are being fair when you say that the industry as a whole has turned a blind eye to what's going on with PlayStation. They don't have a roadmap. They just, there's a lot of stuff going on with PlayStation that nobody is acknowledging, and it is incredibly odd. But I can't wait to hear your hot take on that.
Told you
But,
almost 4 years ago.
Yeah, well, we'll
Corporate
see.
welfare.
Yeah.
Sir X-Man, brother, sell your brand. You're on a couple of podcasts. Let's hear where people can find you on those shows, and where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, I decided to come out of the woods this week because of all the Hellblade stuff. Because I was going to take a hiatus and just do GRG on Fridays with K Mega at 8 o'clock. But because it's the Hellblade stuff just ticked me off so much, dude. I had to get in here and just break it down, man. Because there's no excuse. I repeat, there's no excuse for this type of vitriol for a game. Because when we grew up, all of us, especially us old heads, we had a little vitriol, but it was never, ever like this.
Yeah, you're
and
right.
It's sad to be like this. You're supposed to enjoy a game, no matter what platform it's on. You know, whether you like it or not. If your friend likes it, appreciate it. That's it. Enjoy it and play your games. That's all I'm going to say.
Absolutely.
Be a gamer, not a faker.
Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to Primetime Gaming. Hopefully you enjoyed the banter between us. To hit the like button, hit the bell icon if you want to know every time I go live. And I go live 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, live shows, all different panels, all different shows. But you know what? We don't use hate mongering or clickbaitery to get you in to check it out. Obviously, we come with evidence. I love evidence-based conversation where we bring you articles and we bring you documents that you can look at and you can see for yourself. And yes, we can have an opinion, but it's hard to argue when the facts are the facts. Of course, a big thank you to all of the super chats that continue to come in, as well as the channel memberships that continue to support Double Barrel Gaming in very big ways. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me, folks. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and Friends.